Stonewall riots helped the LGBT communities take a stand for their rights and take a stand against their suppressors. It was the tipping point for the change to support the LGBT community, sparking revolutionary protests and organizations that got us to the level of acceptance we are at today. During the 1960s, the LGBT community was not a widely accepted group. Homosexual acts were illegal in New York along with most places in the world. At the time, people in the community would go to gay bars or places where other LGBT people were because of the harassment caused by not only most civilians, but the authorities at the time as well. Just holding hands or being seen dating someone of the same sex could get you beat up. Harassed, or in the worst case is murdered during this time. It was much easier to get away with hate crimes against the LGBT community. As the police had no interest or real desire to solve the case, as in the case of Marsha P. Johnson, her case remains cold to this day. Also, during this time, being part of the LGBT community was considered by many to be wrong. All the judgment and harassment towards the LGBT community, especially during this time, was the main motivation for the people of the Stonewall riots to angrily fight back for what they believed in.
On June 27 and 28, 1969, Stonewall police officers went undercover to investigate a bar at the Stonewall Inn. The police officers apprehended the cross-dressers along with the drag queens. In New York City at the time, it was against the law to cross-dress. They had a rule that you had to have 3 or more gender-appropriate articles of clothing to avoid getting arrested for cross-dressing. As the police officers called from backup, the bystanders of the bar rallied outside the Stonewall Inn. Once the drag queens and cross-dressers were apprehended, many bystanders in the crowd got heated. The police were roughing up and being otherwise violent toward those who were violating the 3 or more articles rule. Many people started throwing pennies or bottles at the officers. Others hit the tires of the police cars. Around 4 a.m. on June 28, 1969, some of the police officers left to drop the cross-dressers off. During this time, police officers shut themselves in the inn since they were getting harassed by the riot. Other people that were a part of the riots tried to break into the inn throwing beer bottles and other things. Eventually, things started to settle down. No one died or was seriously injured from this event. On June 28th through 29th, the inn was reopened even though it was destroyed. Many supporters of the LGBT gave slogans and signs to show their support, but of course, the police officers came and stopped it. The cops harassed the supporters, and as time went on, the crowd scattered. Throughout June 29th and July 2nd, supporters brought in the subject to other people to gain support. Since the LGBT community was not welcomed by the majority, the Stonewall riots was one of the first events for the community to step up and demand their rights instead of asking politely as they did previously.
The response of the Stonewall Inn's patrons, as well as the subsequent riots and protests afterwards, marked a shift in LGBT activism that caused a domino effect that contributed to many decades of activism. The event sparked a new kind of change that broke down the first of many social barriers that held back members of the LGBT community. Shortly after the events of June 28, 1969, many protests in the first Pride March were organized. This sparked many other organizations like the Gay Liberation Front and the STAR organization for homeless and primarily transgender youths, which was founded by Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, who were some of the foremost leaders of the Stonewall riots and the subsequent movements. It also sparked the surrounding society to change, making it much safer to be out as LGBT by spreading awareness. Without the Stonewall riots, we probably would not celebrate Pride Month every June or have things like marriage equality that we take for granted. Thanks to people like Sylvia Rivera and Marsha P. Johnson, we are in the place of acceptance we are in today.
Here's a clip of such revolutionary activism of Sylvia Rivera's "Y'all Better Quiet Down" speech, which is called that due to racist and transphobic people in the crowd booing her when she gets on stage during a rally in 1973 where she was promoting the STAR organization. The clip has been lightly censored for profanity usage.
Hi, lady. nothing. I've been trying to get up here all day for your gay brothers and your gay sisters in jail. They write me every week and ask for your help. And you all don't do a goddamn thing for them. Have you ever been beaten up and raped in jail? Now think about it. They've been beaten up and raped after they haven't spent much of their money in jail to get their cell phones and tried to get their sex change. The women have tried to fight for their sex changes or to become women of the women's liberation. And they write STAR, not the women's group. They do not write women. They do not write men. They write STAR because we're trying to do something for them. I have been to jail. I have been raped and beaten many times by men, heterosexual men that do not belong in the homosexual shelter. But do you do anything for them? No. You all tell me to go and hide my tail between my legs. I will not longer put up with this. I have been beaten. I have had my nose broken. I have been thrown in jail. I have lost my job. I have lost my apartment for gay liberation.
In conclusion, the 1960s through 70s was a time where the LGBT community was an unappreciated group that was a victim of hate crimes, which authorities never dealt with. People in the community would typically stay at gay bars where they would not be threatened, beat up, or in the worst cases dead. After the monumental event, many organizations and programs started, such as the Gay Liberation Front and the STAR Organization for the Homeless and Transgender Youth, which were founded by Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, who are a significant influence in the LGBT movement. Today, the Stonewall riots are a symbol of resistance to social discrimination or breaking barriers, which has inspired people for years and many more to come.